Morning, Mayor. Okay, so Chazor of the Maimon till now. We started on Friday. So Zaracho kafara, it's the bracha to Yaakov. So he points out from the Gemara, it's actually not a Gemara, it's a Medrash, that this bracha of Faratzta, which is boundless, was said to Yaakov Dafke, and it's connected with the Shemira Shabbos. Because, as the Medrash goes on to say, by Avram, we don't find Shemira Shabbos. I'll soon tell you where we do find by Yaakov. It's not overt, but Avram, we don't find even that emes to Shemira Shabbos. So he inherited the world b'midah. But Yaakov, we find Shemira Shabbos, and that is when Vayicham es pnei Yair. That's when he comes to Shechem, and he camps facing the city. The Medrash says, why didn't he go into the city on Shabbos? So it was Erev Shabbos. It was Erev Shabbos, and he had to. It was getting the sun was setting, so therefore he was kivei his tchum there. Rashi kind of says that it was Erev Shabbos. So therefore, since we see the Torah's merames that he was Shemer Shabbos, so he gets a bracha without limit. So the Mefarshim explained it's not the pshat that Avram didn't keep Shabbos. We know Avram kept everything, even dinim midrabanan, eruv and so on. Erev Tavshilin, but actually he doesn't bring erev Tavshilin. He brings eruv chatzeres because that's more to the subject here, Shemira Shabbos. Even though erev Tavshilin is also akoponim, but it has to do with Vayichan. That the idea of the tchum. So akoponim, he did. But what we don't find by Avram that it's singled out derech prat. That's part of his observance of Kol HaTorah Kula. What do we see from here? That the bracha of Faratz is connected not simply with observing Shabbos as part of observing Torah mitzvahs, but somehow derech prat. You have to understand what that means. And likewise, we find the Gemara, the famous Gemara, the Kol HaMa'anig, it's a Shabbos. Anybody who delights in Shabbos is given an inheritance. Because the pasuk says, "Oz tesanag al Hashem." Then, when you will delight, and what's the reward? V'chalticha nachlas Yaakov, and you will get the inheritance of Yaakov, who got the bracha faratzta. So you have to understand two questions. Number one, faratzta means without limit, and Shabbos is bound with time. And moreover, in halach, if a person's lost, he counts 6 days and then observe Shabbos. Or another shit is he observes Shabbos and then counts 6 days. But at any rate, the counting of the 6 days is integral to the observance of Shabbos. So it's all bound up with time. You need the 6 days in order to have Shabbos. And likewise, on a more symbolic or spiritual level, Misha Torach Berev Shabbos, Yechol b'Shabbos. So what you eat on Shabbos is created by the toil Erev Shabbos, which goes on the whole week. So therefore, the question is that since Shabbos is bound up with this man integrally, so why is it that that Shemira Shabbos elicits is connected to a faratzta, a bracha which is without limit? And as we said before, and it's not enough to keep Shabbos as part of Torah mitzvahs. There's something about Shabbos derech prat that only we find by Yaakov, and therefore he has the bracha of Faratzta. We have to understand all these in Yom. Now, Eis Beis again, we just began it, we'll continue, start again. And this is a h'tshכ, this is already Yud Kislev. We're well into the next year, h'tשכ of Beis, and it's a h'tשכ to the memorim of the previous year and this year. At the Mitzavim and Rosh Hashanah. So the Havens Yeshlahatchem Tchila Mashnis Bird Memorim Shlifnis. Understand this. Well, after the first preface which we explained earlier in my Memorim, Shabbos Eshtem Gimel B'chinas. Shabbos has 3 dimensions, 3 levels. Ma'ale the Shabbat, Friday night, Yom the Shabbat, the Shabbos day, V'yom the Shabbat the Gufa. In the Shabbos day itself, Yeshna Beis B'chinas. There are 2 aspects. You have the Maimah, yeah. What are the 2 b'chinas? Hatfilas, v'asudas, the yom of the Shabbat. Shabbos day you have the tfilas and the sudas of Shabbos day. And the second thing is Vatfilas Vasudas the Rabbi the Rabbi. And then there's Tfilas Mincha and the Suda of Rabbi the Rabbi of Mincha. Desire within desire. It is, friends, everybody get a siddur. It's kedai to have a siddur in front of you because he's going to analyze the h't'chk very thoroughly. And there's a lot of pratim, so I suggest you have it. I certainly need it. And let's first read it together. h't'chk, translate it, and then see what the Maamar says as it addresses this in great detail. It's all based on the Maamar of the Mittel Rebbe. This is a Farbrengen of Keslev, Shabbos Parshas Vayetze. This year, Vayetze is Keslev. What day is Vayetze? Anybody can see there? No. Yeah, I'm asking this year. On your phone? Huh? Keslev is Sunday. Test is Shabbos. Okay. Okay, so let's look at it together. It's one statement. You are one, your name is one. And who is like your people, Israel, one nation on earth. Then, Tiferes Gedula, Vateres Yeshua, Yom Menucha Kedusha L'Amcha Nosata. Translation: an ornament of greatness. That's Tiferes Gedula. Tiferes, an ornament, all right? Vateres Yeshua, a crown of salvation, a day of rest and holiness, you have given to your people. Let's statement number 2. Then, number 3. Avram Yogel Yitzchak Yeranin Yaakov Avonav Yenuchavoi. Avram rejoices, Yitzchak exalts, Yaakov and his sons rest thereon. Then it says, Menuchas Avon Nedava Menuchas Emes Ve'emuna Menuchas Sholim Hashkit Vavetach Menuchas Shlema Sho'ata Reitzeba. Translation: a rest of peace, serenity and security, a perfect rest with which you find favor. And finally, Akiru Vanech Ve'yedu Ki Me'itchim Menuchasam V'yam Menuchasam Yakdish Shmech. May your children recognize and know that from you is their rest, and by their rest they sanctify your name. I always read it, not yet the may they, but they do. Anyway, I call upon him. All right, so let's have the Sefer in front of us, the Siddur in front of us, because we're going to refer to word, so we don't get confused with all of the words. So let's begin. Yeah, to begin so betfilas Raivin Oimrim, so in the tefillah of Mincha, we say, Ata Echad v'Shimcha Echad, Mi Kamcha Kisol, Gechad Baras, one, and your name is someone who's like your people, Israel, one nation in the world. Tiferes Geduli said a crown of greatness, ornament of greatness. Vateres Yeshua. Torah is actually a crown. So why did he say that? First one's an ornament, second one is a crown. Ornament of greatness, a crown of salvation. Yom Menucha Kedusha, a day of rest and holiness. Menuchas, various description of that rest, and so on. We just get an introduction. Tzarich love, and the question is, it's very elaborate, and what's the meaning? It seems that the tefillah is repeating just in different poetic language descriptions the same minyan, which we'll see obviously that it's not. Why are we stressing rest now with Mincha of Shabbos? Rest is not shaykh. It doesn't apply just to Mincha. Friday night is already rest with ceasing, cessation of work. The Yadrab in the country, since Friday night comes, the time comes immediately, and in proximity, to the work and toil of the weekday. The contrary, the contrast and the rest is more recognizable, is more pronounced. The Shabbat then the rest Shabbos day, especially at Mincha, it's only 24 hours of rest. Not such a chiddush that we're not working. Adrab, the chiddush is when? Friday night. Everybody knows in their home that the transition of the hustle and bustle, sometimes frantic, especially in the days that are shorter, when little kids in the home. I don't have to tell you. So, and then comes the candle lighting, this dramatic peace descends. So on the contrary, that's where Yom Menucha. Why do we say this dafke at Shabbos Mincha? All right, friends, so here he goes now. I think we'll make a sheet also, kind of, maybe if we need it, because there's so many pratim here. But don't get discouraged. We'll work it out. Rabbi will help us. So the meaning is, as he explains it, the Mittel Rebbe in the Maamer ha'Tchek. The interesting footnote is that this was only published later in 1965, and then later still in Tafshin Nun Aleph. So where was it then? I don't know if it was around. People even had it. I don't know. It's not uncommon that there were Maimorim that reached the Rebbe that he didn't get before because private people had it and didn't give it and finally gave it. Or it came out of Russia and people brought Ksovim. And very often the Rebbe would say a Maimer or even conduct a Farbrengen in honor of the Pidgin Shvum, as he would call it, of the release of captivity of the Maimorim. Now, those that know more the inside of that than I do, but that's the general opinion. At any rate, so the middle we actually identify the 4 sections of the tefillah. We'll look at it again. In each of the 4 sections, he identifies the three kavim, literally the 3. Literally, a kav is a line, of course. The 3 channels. There's a word. There's a good mathematical word for it. Just escapes me now. Come back to me. Of chagas. Kfi sheim bedal madreges, as chagas repeats, these are the 3 basic pillars of ishtalshalus. So as it repeats on 4 levels. Now he demonstrates. Hine ata echad shimcha echad, you are one. Your name is one of me. Kamcha ki Yisrael. Who is like your people Yisrael? Him gimel akav in chagas. This is chesed gevura tiferes. How so? Ata echad, you are one who kavah chesed. This expresses chesed. Why? Ki yadua, as it's known, she'ata b'chinas chesed. That ata is chesed. Where is Gimel? Just started. Pardon? Yeah. Why is ata chesed? Because chesed in Yonli Amshochas is pashtos v'gilui. The primary property of chesed is expression, gilui. If you're saying you, it means you're revealed. You're seeing that, and you're acknowledging and experiencing, seeing the one that you say you. So Loshen Gilui, the presence is revealed. So Ato Echod is Chesed. V'Shimcha Echod, your name is one of Kavah Gvura. That's already Gvura. Why? Kinyon Shemhu Hagiloi Luzulosoi. Ato is we're speaking about a most of a person. Ato is the person in a state of revelation. Name, it's how somebody else is apprehending him, is relating to him. So name is already not just a person in a state of revelation. It can be a state of revelation in a desert island. You don't need a name there. You're revealed, you're present, not concealed, but you don't need a name. You need a name for someone to call you. Kinyon Hashem hu agilu l'zulose, that the other should relate to you. And that is of what? Mitzad kav ha'gvura. Gvura is already tzimtzum, b'lamata l'mayla, from below to above. And that's already otherness. So, Shimcha echad is gvura. More detail, v'yesh b'zeh kal minyonim in this inyan of Shimcha echad. Being gvura, there's several components. Inyan Aleph, number one, Shem etzem b'tzias azulas. How is that? We just said, how is there another person? Azulas, and other? There's no other. So this is only possible, this sense of otherness. The truth is, even there is no other, period. Even after the tzimtzum and even after the creation. But that's mitzad the truth. But in the hergish of the other, that's us at the bottom of this whole process, there's definitely another. So how does this happen? Mitzad tzimtzum v'agvuras, because Hashem veils, conceals His presence. If Hashem reveals Himself in His true glory, there cannot be the mitzias of azulis. Even though we've explained in the past that the etzim notion of gilui implies otherness. So there is the potential for otherness, but the mitzias of azulis cannot be. The Ein Sof, Atzmos Ein Sof, even the Ein Sof is revealed, there cannot be a sense of other, of separation. So rak mitzad hagbolas hagiloi, only if Hashem, because Hashem conceals, screens this giloi, yeshne mokil mitzias azulis. There is place for the emergence of azulis that feels that he is another independent entity to whatever degree. The greater the tzimtzum, the greater the sense of independence. That's one inyan why Gvura is connected to Shimcha. And again, Shimcha is required for the other by which to call you. The second inyan base, the connection to the inyan of a name, is as follows: Shagam lachni shekvanis have hazulas. Even after the other is created, and other is relative, atzilus, whatever, greater and greater otherness as we descend in ishtalshalus. What is drawn, what is known, is the merest glimmer of the presence of Hashem, and that's what the name is. Kedua, Shadei Hashem eina nimshecha etzem, means here begoloi. The pnimius, yes, everything is always ironic, but begoloi, a name, the etzem isn't drawn. If I tell you there's someone behind the door and his name is such and such, you have no clue of anything about this person, except he has this name. Elorak ha'or le'levad, it's the merest glimmer. She's galal zelos ad Hashem. It's revealed through the name. The truth is, even Rabbi Meir, for example, that if you tell him the name, and presumably he needs to know the name together with the father and mother's name to put the profile together, but even that is only a ha'odah. It's the chitzonistic expression of the person, not his pnimius, not the etzem of the person. That's a second thing. So what's the second thing? That the zulus is brought into being through the merest glimmer of Olikus. And a third component to the whole, and why this is all a gvura-dika thing, because gvura is tzimtzum. Now he adds that gvura is ischalkos, where there's tzimtzum, there is division. Oneness is eclipsed. The greater the tzimtzum, the more the oneness and the unity fades. Begolui. So Hashem, the whole idea of a name is a letter. It's not one letter. It's a combination of letters. And of course, division comes as a result of restriction, of containment of tzimtzum. When there's gilui, there's oneness. Conclusion: Ato echad is chesed, shimcha echad is gvura, and we just got now here the various components and connection between gvura and the idea of a name. Yeah. First of all, that there is a zulus, only a zulus needs a name. Secondly, only is a ha'odah, and thirdly, it becomes bischalkus. Clear? At least generally clear. Then This is all the first statement of h'tשכ. The third thing now. Who is like Israel, one nation in the world, on earth, who inyan kava tiferes. This is tiferes. Why? Ki Israel or kava emtzoi. Israel, a yid, means in the shamas. The shamas in ishtalshalas, the shamas are rooted high in ishtalshalas. And that's why in ishtalshalas, they are expressed in dafka kava emtzoi, which is the fusion of chesed and gevurah, which requires that which is beyond ishtalshalas. Neshamas are atzmi. Neshamas and atzmi. And that's tiferes. But he brings a pasuk. The pasuk, Yisrael asher b'cha aspire. Israel, in you, Hashem says, in which I aspire, I take pride. Tiferes. Aspire, oisis, tiferes. It's the same letters of tiferes. So that's the of Eden. Okay, this is Bekitzer, the hasbara that will come later in the Maimer. I presume I didn't learn it further. We're just getting the geography right, hopefully. So this is what Israel. That's already Chagas once. Now you said there's 4 statements in h'tשכ. Let's continue that. He then adds and enumerates Gimel Kavin Chagas bepam base. Now a second time. What does it say? Shezel Oimrei, this is what he says. Tiferes Gdula, ornament of greatness. They're just words. Vateres Yeshua, and crown of salvation. Yom Menucha Gdusha, a day of rest and holiness. Lamcha Nasata. So let's see. The first word is Tiferes Gdula. And he mentions Tiferes, that's true, but he mentions Gedula. What kind of Tiferes Gedula? So Yedua, it's known that Gedula hunyin kava chesed. Because he said before, chesed means primarily expansion, revelation. That's Gedula. When you enumerate, the Pasuk enumerates the 7 midas, chesed is called Gedula. And this brings that the early Mukabolim, in fact, did not refer to this midas chesed, but they called it Gedula. Later, it was referred to chesed, as explained why. Because it's expansive and true chesed has no limit. It gives and diffuses and spreads without limit. That's the inyan of what? Of chesed, tiferes, gedula. What's the next description? Vateres Yeshua, a crown of salvation. This is gevura. What's the connection to gevura? Kina Yeshua. Salvation means that what? There's opposition. There's an oppressor and there's an opposer. And we are victorious over him. So then the victory, we overpower, we're victorious, we defeat the enemy, the opposer. Yeshua, and there is Yeshua. Now it continues. Sarachin a little bit. Why doesn't he say, therefore, in order for it to be menagid, it's going to tzimtzum, it's gevura? He's not talking about the menagid. He's talking about the victory over the menagid. It's Ateres Yeshua. So that's what he goes into saying now. But Vadain certainly could they lam b'neged the menagid in order to stand up and then vanquish the opposition. Tzarich linyan ha'gevuras. That requires might, gevura. Gibur milchama. All right, so that is gevura. Then the third thing, Yom Menucha Kedusha Lamcha Nasata, day of tranquility and holiness you gave to your people. Kavah Tiferes, that's Tiferes. Why? Sharei Menucha Yin Shalom. Menucha, peace is tranquility is peace. And what's peace? Peace is when opposites reconcile. For Shalom in Iskalulos Beis Afachim, peace is when 2 opposites fuse, reconciled, are incorporated as one. Shuhu b'kav emtzoi. This is dafka kav emtzoi, which is rooted higher than either chesed and gvura. K'vu b'geretz hakodesh explains in Tanya. All right, that is what the second enumeration of chagas. We're clear? Yeah. Yeah. Now a third time. Avram rejoices in Kava Chesed. That's obviously Chesed. Yitzchak Yerani, Yitzchak exalts. When in Kava Gvura, Yaakov, one of Yaakov and his sons rest in it is Tiferes. Yaakov Kava Tiferes. Yaakov is Tiferes. Polachin Dafka Beinema Yanuchuva. There's Dafka. He rests in it because what is this? We just said before that what is rest? Rest is tranquility, peace, shalom. Is the harmony of opposites, and that's what Yaakov is, and therefore Yanucha, he rests in it. Visham Nucha, he bekav him so he can down. So we're already beginning to see the connection of Shabbos to Yaakov. So this is what, this is third level. The fourth and final time that he enumerates the three divisions of Chagas are as follows. He says, Menuchas av on the dova, a tranquility of love, and the dova, benevolence. It's obviously Uyin Kava Chesed. That's Chesed. The av of love, the divis lev, and benevolence of the heart. A mitzad Chesed. That's prompted by the mid of Chesed. Then he says, Menuchas sholem hashket vavetach, a peace, a tranquility of peace, hashket. Peace, tranquility, betach. Betach is security, exactly. Who kava tiferes? That's tiferes, as we said before. Here tiferes comes after chesed, not third. The shalom is yes or no? Yeah. What does it say here? Oh, emes emunah. It's going to go back to that. So why does he skip it? We'll see. Don't know. Yeah, there's emes emunah in the middle. So let's see. Yeah, he goes back to it in a moment. So as we said before, the shol in peace. Is the fusion of two opposites, which is the center. The center is rooted in the pnimius. And etzem, and therefore it has the ability to fuse opposites because it all comes from him. So when the essence is revealed, then every expression can be united, even though in their own worlds they are at odds. Between these two descriptions, he says, a rest of peace and emunah. Trustworthy. How does he translate it here? He just says, where are we? A rest of truth and faithfulness. All right. So what is this? Why is emunah gvura? There's different levels of emunah, but classic emunah. Not that the Tzav identifies two levels, but he means the lower one here, the classic one. When you need faith. When you don't see it, you believe, you have faith. You don't need classic emunah. Why don't you see? Because of the gevurah of tzimtzum. Why is God not revealed? Because he's concealing himself. Therefore, that's why he talks about it last, because the chidush. He wants to focus on this one. So therefore he says, Menuchas emes ve'emunah, bein menuchas ava und dova, the menuchas shalom hashket v'vetach. That's why it's in between. Yaseder hu chesed gvur tiferes. Good. So we've explained the whole Ata Echad as addressing Chagas on 4 levels. But we're left with the question, the last thing. Last thing he said, what does he add when he says, all of this? We have identified everything. So what's this perfect whole menucha that you desire? Okay. Okay, we'll stop here and we'll continue Be'ez Hashem tomorrow.